from kicking off their season on an unfinished and nearly abandoned car, to finally adding a new floor to their car before the Baku GP. Here's everything you need to know about McLaren's recent upgrade to their car, starting with the team having to wait until the Azerbaijan GP for the new upgrades.
Oh man, we've got a good getaway for Perez. He chops across Alonso and he maintains the lead into turn one. Alonso.
Imagine starting your season on an unfinished and abandoned car. Well, McLaren don't need to, cause that's what they did in the first few races. It was only a couple of months ago that they realized the car they had been working on for so long wasn't any good. It did not have the required performance they needed to compete with all the other cars on the grid, cause they never made the significant upgrades to the floor of that car. I mean, what is going on in that team? When the team finally realized the car needed a change, it already put them a month behind the schedule. But the good news is that they finally changed and upgraded the floor of their car, which is the most important part of an F1 car. So maybe we can say that Azerbaijan was basically the start of the season for that team. But what good is an upgrade if it doesn't do the job? We've seen many cases like this in Formula 1, but luckily for them, it wasn't the case. The team's data showed that the upgrade is paying off. Get ready for some crazy action on the circuits, McLaren fans, cause your team's upgrades are in full flow. A representative from the team has recently confirmed that the data is showing what they expected. So this is very positive news for the team, who had a pretty shaky start to the 2023 season. They haven't exactly revealed what changes they've made to the floor, cause then everybody would be jumping on it. All I know for now is that the new concept for the floor does seem to work. Now, I know you guys are saying what exactly the data has shown. Please tell us too. So just hear me out. In the first 3 races of the season, McLaren was just over 101% off the pace in qualifying. It means they were nearly 1.5 seconds behind all the other cars in a 90-second lap. Because of this, they were ranked 7th in terms of pace, 0.425 seconds behind Alpine. And you don't want that if you want to compete in the midfield. But there was a significant improvement in performance in the Baku GP after the upgrade. They were the 5th fastest car in qualifying in terms of pace, behind only the untouchable top 4 in Formula 1 this season. Plus, their drivers have also shared their thoughts on this newborn version of the car. Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri feel confident behind the wheel. Piastri said the team has surely made a step forward compared to the start of their season.
Yeah, it looks great. Obviously an evolution of last year's car, and yeah, pretty special to call it my first F1 car. So yeah.
He also added that this is only the first step, which has worked like a charm for the team, and that the team's always pushing to make this car better. Oscar's excited to see what the future holds for the team, and so am I. On the other hand, Norris was actually surprised that the upgrade has performed this well on a track like Baku. The British driver added how he wasn't expecting the car to do so well there.
Little bits. Don't know yet how well it's gonna to go down, but yes, I guess this year's car, although...
And was waiting until the Miami GP for the new floor to show its colors, cause there aren't many high-speed corners in Baku, and Miami is full of them. But the car's done what it's done, and Lando's absolutely delighted with it. But he wasn't very happy earlier in the season. He said the team should have started the season with those Baku upgrades. According to him, these upgrades should have been made sooner rather than later, and he's absolutely right. Norris said that if McLaren wants to be a top team, they should have had the car ready before the season, but that didn't happen. Team CEO Zach Brown also pointed out that McLaren was missing some key development targets.
As a new partner last week to join our illustrious group of Googles and Coca-Colas and Cisco's,
and that the team needs to get things in order quickly. Norris is a heavily talented driver, and you can't just make a driver of his quality unhappy, cause that's totally unacceptable. Baku showed some positive signs for the team, and showed that the team was finally back on the right track, but they'll need to stay ahead of the curve now, both metaphorically and literal. Fans can only hope that they get positive news for the remainder of the season. And with that, let me just stop you right there, cause they may face face some problems with their new floor in Miami. That's down to the MCL60 not being projected to perform the same as it did in Azerbaijan, and this could prove to be one of the biggest warnings for the team. Yes, Lando has said that he's hoping for it to perform even better in Miami, but who's to say that it definitely will? There's no clear guarantee. Until they have a broader sample size, there is no certainty that the floor will perform the same as it did in Baku. Now, the problem here is that the MCL60 was already supposed to be a much better version of last year's car. Without this new floor, it was supposed to be more competitive at the circuits, just as it was in Saudi Arabia when Piastri bagged the team's first Q3 appearance for the season. Plus, Lando's already said that there are still some problems with the car despite the new upgrade. He said the way the car struggled in Saudi and Bahrain, he's still facing somewhat similar problems. The 23-year-old explained how the car's nowhere near its absolute best, and there's still a lot to solve. Lando's a smart guy, y'all. Sometimes his genius is almost frightening. He thinks the MCL60 is still the slowest car on the grid in a straight line. I'm not too sure about that, Lando, but he says this problem's making the lives of the drivers very difficult. They're unable to push the car around the corner, and in a straight line, they just get eaten up alive by all the other cars on the grid. This is a serious problem for them though, because what the speed gun in Baku showed was frightening for McLaren. The results of the speed gun showed that McLaren had the slowest maximum velocity among all the teams. In a sport where you have to be the fastest car on the grid, they're the slowest. I feel for them and their fans, but the team needs to pull off some massive upgrades in the coming races to solve this problem. This is and should be their first priority. Just listen to this. Piastri's car was only able to reach 330 kilometers per hour on the main straight at Baku. So who was the fastest? Who else could it be? It was Max Verstappen, who tripped the gun at 342 kilometers. Alpine was around 335, which should be a realistic target for them, but it's a fact that in Formula 1, every kilometer counts. Alpine being quicker should be a reality check, because based on that, the team had a horror weekend in Baku. They had to go through car fires, pit lane starts, crashes, and whatnot. Clearly, there's a lot of work left for the team to do, but the good thing is they're busy working. Team principal Andreas Seidel has hinted at a major upgrade coming later this year. Stella said that the team's planning a B-spec type upgrade. The plan is to install this upgrade before the summer break, so the fans can expect this upgrade to be as soon as next month. It could be compared to the B-spec version of the MCL60, according to the team principal. It's expected to be a much more apparent modification. At least that's what Stella said regarding the brand new upgrade. And that's not it. He's also planning some upgrades after the summer break, which will provide a few tenths of a second to the car.
Yeah, it was very tricky, and I think the most important or most difficult thing was to be patient enough because of course you're tempted then when you see that the green sectors are coming in.
The goal of the team is clear. They want to be in the top 4 at the end of the season, and Stella is hopeful that this new range of upgrades will help them reach the goal as soon as possible. That's all I have on the numbers suggesting McLaren's upgrade has paid off. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.